Hey guys, welcome to the Browns postgame react for Week 10 on Sunday night, November the 13th. Let's actually just get right into it. As you can see, the Dolphins crushed the Browns today, 39-17, and it wasn't really even that close. I am not going to lie. This is going to be a relatively short episode because I was basically on the couch asleep for most of this game. Not so much having a late night, although we did have a lot of fun last night with the Wise guys, Mike and myself. And more on that towards the end of this episode here. And it also had nothing to do with Browns radio announcer Jim Donovan testing positive for COVID over the weekend and being replaced by Jeff Phelps. Love Jeff Phelps. You could definitely tell the energy wasn't there, but then let's actually get into it here with the ticker. It was something that Miami basically kind of dominated in most facets. The Browns did actually come out with a um Chubb only touched the ball 11 times for 63 yards, and one of those was a 14-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter to be able to kind of pull the Browns back to within 2 scores at the point. But the game was well out of hand by then. The Dolphins 491 yards of offense, and yet the Browns are going to stick with Joe Woods through the rest of the year as the defensive coordinator. This is easily the telltale sign that Joe Woods is not going to have a job after their final game of the regular season, because let's also be honest, they are not going to the playoffs. They are now 3-6. This season is over. I love all these people who are blind loyalists in this town and actually say, "Hey, let's win 2 out of 3 coming out of the bye." Well, guess what? Those 2 out of 3 were against the Dolphins, who, even though their secondary stinks and the jury was still out on Tua, you just got crushed by them today. We're still a much faster team. We're a 6-3 team. Then you actually get to go up to Orchard Park next week to play the Bills Mafia, and the Bills Mafia is going to be insanely pissed off in that game next Sunday, and I'm going to revel in it. You saw the Dolphins put up basically 40. It should have been 41, except for their kicker missed a pair of extra points today. And then the Bills blew a 14-point lead in the second half and lost to Minnesota in overtime in a game. Let's keep in mind that they had a key defensive stop inside the 5-yard line with under a minute to go. They had a goal line stand, and then what does Josh Allen do? Josh Allen fumbles on the 1-yard line trying to actually advance the ball just to be able to, because there wasn't enough room to kneel down. Minnesota recovers it for a touchdown. Buffalo goes the length of the field essentially and kicks a field goal to send the game to overtime. Minnesota kicks a field goal in overtime, and then Josh Allen throws an interception trying to do a little bit too much in overtime that actually, at the very worst, the Bills could have come away with a tie. So this is now back-to-back games the Bills have lost, and quite honestly, it's on Josh Allen for both of them. But then again, you look at the fact that now the Miami Dolphins are in first place in the AFC East with the Jets being on a bye, and then the Bills lost today. The Bills are now 6-3. The Jets are 6-2. Miami is now 7-3. Again, in first place. But then you look at the 3 losses that Buffalo has. Minnesota today, who's leading the NFC North, Miami and the Jets, 2 teams that right now that they're technically trailing in that division and had no idea that they were going to be this good. People thought that the Dolphins were going to be good and potentially a playoff team. Nobody expected the Jets to actually have the success that they are. Excuse me, sorry about that. And quite honestly, let's be honest, the catalyst for the Jets run through this year was scoring 14 points in less than 2 minutes to beat the Browns back in week 2. Jacoby Brissett, 22 of 35 for 212 yards and a touchdown today. Again, we talked about Nick Chubb barely touching the ball. Donovan Peoples-Jones did have 5 catches for 99 yards. Tua Tagovailoa, 25 of 32, 285, had 3 touchdowns. Wilson there, as you see, 17 carries, 119 yards. Raheem Mostert also actually touched the ball quite a few times and had 60 yards. And Miami had 4 receivers with at least 4 catches, led by Tyreek Hill, who really you didn't hear a whole lot of, in this game through most of the first half, but yet still finished with 5 catches. There were nobody on Miami had over 100 yards receiving. Nobody on the Browns had more than 100 yards receiving as well. And then if you look at the late yardage efficiency, the Browns 5 of 12 on third down, not great. Miami over 50% at 6 of 11, 1 of 2 on fourth down. The Browns 2 of 5 on fourth down. So the Browns had a Nick Chubb fumble and then actually had 3 more turnovers on fourth down. So technically, if you look at it, the Browns had at least 4 turnovers today. And this is actually why that the Browns only had the ball for 26 minutes and 46 seconds. I mean, that's a 7-minute discrepancy, but there was when the Browns scored to be able to put the game back within 14 in the fourth quarter on Chubb's touchdown. Miami then proceeded to do at least 10-play drive for a touchdown to basically put the game out of reach at that point, and also ate up over 6.5 minutes on the clock, and you can't really come back from that. And this team is not talented enough to do so. Again, it's I can't break everything down that I wanted to here because again, with the temperatures falling, it was perfect sleeping weather type day. Very relaxing kind of weekend. And we knew that this game was not going to be fun. And then let's also keep in mind that, again, 2 out of 3 after the bye week, you lost the first one. You're going to lose next week. And then you're going to also have, then you actually get to host Tom Brady probably in the snow, in 3 weeks here, actually 2 weeks now. As the Buccaneers come into town. And then, Deshaun, don't call me Bill Cosby, Watson comes back on December 4th. And they said that they wanted to be in contention by the time he comes back for a late stretch. You're done. You're 3-6. You're going to be 3-7 next week. And then regardless of what happens with, when that happens, you're going to have to win out to get in. And that's not going to happen with their schedule. It's if you look up and down their schedule, maybe the Commanders and maybe the Texans game. Let's actually see how rusty Watson is. And I am going to have some fun with that one, win, lose, or draw. And if there's any spiritual deity to believe in, and you know me, I don't believe in any of them, he tears an ACL in the first, on his first play, and then misses the entire season. And then the Browns are basically on the hook for $47 million for a guy who can't play, even though they can kind of defer that money and recoup some of it for a guy who quite honestly shouldn't have suited up this year to begin with. But this is something we all saw coming, and quite honestly, for most of the fan base out there, it's blind loyalism. It's something that now you're starting to see this team is not built as well as you think it is. This is not homering on Baker and trashing Watson. That's actually going to come in a couple of weeks when you start to see really how bad of an idea that was to begin with, to essentially blow everything up. This is the kind of game that puts everything into perspective. Getting your ass kicked like this. This is also this is also basically pouring cold water on any of your playoff chances now throughout the rest of the year. And then this is also a game where people are going to be calling in on sports talk radio and Twitter, posting on Twitter, posting on Facebook that Stefanski needs to go, Andrew Berry needs to go, this whole regime needs to go. And quite honestly, it's 1 year a little too late at this point. This all could have been resolved had they actually not blown the thing up and gone with Watson, because now the worst part about it, if you're a Browns fan, is that you've got all this money tied up in guys that Watson hasn't played. Amari Cooper was largely silent today. Denzel Ward can't stay healthy and on the field. Didn't really do much of anything today, and you're paying him $100 million to only basically play at best 2/3 of the season. The Myles Garrett contract, I completely understand. He's the cornerstone of your defense, and really him and Nick Chubb are the cornerstones of your franchise right now. The Browns actually I've said it before and I will say it again, they are starting to deserve every single thing that comes their way right now. They're the highest paid laughingstock in all of professional football, and that's saying something. Because the Texans are an afterthought after blowing things up. We can always crack on the Lions wherever possible. With Buffalo, you kind of love them or you hate them. I personally love them. The Jets have typically been a laughingstock. They're not right now, but let's actually see if they can prolong this. Are they built well enough for the playoffs? I doubt it, but it's good to actually see them kind of getting their success. And then finally some vindication for Tua. He's got his team right now that close to being able to clinch a playoff spot in the AFC, especially with all the talent that's out there. So let me know what you guys think. Are the Browns officially done? And if not, how bad is it going to be next week going up to Orchard Park? And are they officially done next week? If they end up going to 3-7, and what exactly did they do out of the bye week outside of take long naps and obviously not get up for a game that they had to have? So I will be back with you guys sometime this week with another weekly edition of the Sports Note. Mike and I want to thank everyone who joined us live or caught the video on demand. We got once YouTube finishes kind of editing it so I can kind of download and pick apart the video, we're going to have a couple of shorts going up on the page. One of them already did go up, but I'm actually going to get a little bit more of a formal clip of it. There's a second segment that we had a little bit of fun with. And the shorts are really not to discuss anything other than just completely coming off the rails and sidetrack stuff. If you guys want, shorts of a certain segment, that's certainly something we can explore later. It has the link to it has already been posted to the JC24 Sports Note blog. We also have our next two shows tentatively scheduled for the official Wise Guys shows, I should say, tentatively scheduled for December 3rd, and also our year-end bash will be on December the 17th. So everyone's welcome to come on. Everyone's welcome to chime in. We're going to hopefully have a lot of guests. We're going to be not taking anything seriously. Time to kind of reflect. We're also actually coming up on the 20th episode of the Wise Guys show. That'll probably be right after the first of the year. And then also we've got the big Rican Ohio State and Michigan preview coming up on Black Friday. Keep tuned in to Mike and myself for what time that's going to happen, whether that's going to be pre-taped or if it's going to be live. We're still kind of working on, but that's going to be a full house as it was last year. I'll probably have a small segment of that because quite honestly, it is going to be the game of the year, but we know me. It's unless they're going to get smacked around, I have no intention of watching Ohio State. Whereas unlike with the Browns, I'm enjoying watching them going down in flames. And as Margaret Whitten said in Major League Two, and I want to be there when you go splat. So again, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys a little later on this week. Take care.